Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is a show we're going to discuss everything in the tabletop hobby world. I am your host, Wild Chevy. I'm going to be doing some painting and stuff tonight. As always, I'm joined by my buddy Casey. Casey, how are you this week?
I'm emotionally dead inside. The Walking Dead might have just killed someone I love. This means, producers of The Walking Dead, I will have to kill someone you love.
Hey, well, I mean, you feel. I guess this is called Game of Thrones guilt, Survivor guilt.
Yeah, and see, now I feel really bad at laughing at everybody when they all came up, when they killed Ned Stark or they hit the Red Wedding, and me having read the books just laughed at them. Now I know what they feel like.
Well, let's not spoil anything for the folks out there, because then we'll get hate mail. What have you done this week in the tabletop hobby world?
All right. Well, let me show you here. So as you noticed, I'm not painting infinity figs because they are done. So instead of just holding them up to the monitor, let me just show you guys real quick what I've got going on here. So can you see these?
Yeah, it looks like Evangelion.
Nope, these are infinity. Although Evangelion, the head is sort of Evangelion-esque. So these are a couple of the Dakini TacBot repeaters that come with Skillia and Drakios. So these ones are pretty basic. I don't have a lot of pictures of these just because they're not very interesting. At least I don't think so. These are the ones that I did some massive pinning on. The one thing I think that was kind of fun was I did like the little glowing bits around their eyes, which was kind of fun. I mean, it's not the most perfect effect, but for something that took me 10 minutes, wasn't bad.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it was just a shot of white, white with the airbrush, and then I did red, and then I did a little bit of orange on top of that, and then 3 yellow dots. I actually got the idea from Beast of War has been doing a bunch of Anarchy stencil videos. Have you seen those?
I've seen the stencils.
Yeah, I really want some of those stencils, but the videos are great. And that was one thing he talked about was, it was a lot of times reds, when we try and lighten them up, they go pink. And so what he was doing was he would lay down a layer of red and then immediately put a layer of orange over on top of that. And got similar results to this. So, oh, hello, ma'am. It was one of the dactyls that I did, or the dactyl that I did. I'm actually really proud, as odd as it seems, of this leg, her right leg, the back of it. All it was just, it was appreciated with white and black, and then I just slowly glazed black over the top of it, and it's just a beautiful transition.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
See, now I want to try. We've seen where Angel has done this, with like a skin tone underneath it, to do stockings. I really want to try that now. Here's the front of her. So yeah, she was a fun one. Blue is always, at least for me, a fun color to paint, just because I think it's a flattering color. Here's Drakios. So the hair turned out kind of nice. The expression on his face was kind of fun. I'll say he was interesting and kind of fun and a little bit different because I just see with a lot of these other ones, they are wearing we'll say soft armor, and form-fitting clothes and really flexible looking stuff. He's wearing really bulky, chunky, kind of traditional armor, which is a little bit more straightforward to highlight. There's just the backside of him, because Corvus Belli only ever takes pictures of a model from one side.
Yeah, or from the side or just a little bit off to an angle.
And I get it. Every model has like a best pose, and it really is this one for him, which is kind of the same position that Corvus Belli takes him all. But when you want to buy a model. Okay, so here's a funny story. These are actually several pieces, like his equipment on his back, and underneath those, if for whatever you just had to leave it off, is a very, 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 very shapely. So he's the guy's got a badonkadonk. Yeah, he does squats. And I was sitting there looking like, that's a handsome butt. I wish I had a butt that looked like that. Celia, the other half of that, she did not turn out well, so we'll just skip over her. I'm going backwards through pictures, so that's why we're always seeing the back half of these people first.
You just like the butts.
It's all about the base, my friend. This is the Chandra Spec Ops. So she was kind of fun. Fairly simple, straightforward, just a lot of blacks and a little bit of metal. And then this was Drakios. Or not Drakios, Akmon. So I think he kind of turned out the best out of all of them. His skin tone turned out really nice. I'm really happy with that. The hair went well. The colors on the suit went well. So little hexagons in his skin, which I have no idea what those are about. So yeah, so that's what I did this week, was finish up all of my Infinity guys.
Nice. Now you need to buy more.
Oh, I know, right? It's actually because the last 7 that I did took about 7 months, and then I did these 7 in about 1 month. So, they're about 65 to 70% of like where I would like their quality to be. But I've got a lot of other stuff to start painting, it looks like. So I kind of needed to get them done and get them ready to start practicing for LVO. But that's me. So what about you?
Well, let's see. I don't think I played 40K this week. That seems a little bit vague to me. I did go and break through after getting some tips and looking up some lists for how effective people have been running Grey Knights. I did cut off all the backpacks on all my Grey Knights to turn them from interceptors into purifiers.
And is that a Drago that I see there on the
table?
I'm the man, the myth, the legend.
Yep, I'm bringing him back into the list now. Apparently, that's found a good way to run him. So, got him good, or not good. I'm gonna repaint, do some repainting on him to actually get him completed. But I did put the magnets on the base, and then magnetize the little top part here, because I do not want to see this thing break off.
Did you know that there's a rumor out there that Drago is actually a clone of Horus?
Yeah. That's what, if you want to believe the propaganda.
That's just, like I said, I don't think so, but it was just something that somebody had said once, and they had a few little bits of pieces of anecdotal evidence where you're like, oh wow, yeah, that might actually, that could be it.
So why is he living in the warp then?
Why is he living in the warp, Drago?
Yeah.
Okay, so rewind back to like 30K and prior to the heresy, Horus was actually making clones of himself. Like, or maybe if not exactly clones, but he was manipulating the gene seed such that it was basically like taking a person and then like rewriting their DNA and making it like Horus DNA versus what the Emperor was really doing. Because a lot of people would notice, they're like, wow, because like every legion kind of like takes after their Primarch to a certain extent. But people would look at the Luna Wolves or the Sons of Horus and just go like, you guys all really look like Horus, you know that? And everybody would just go, but it's because of that manipulation there. And so when Horus turned to chaos, not all of his legion followed him. And in fact, a few dropped out,
it's
the heresy went on. Well, yeah, like not even that, but like a little bit after that as well. Like there was a few who were like, this doesn't really sit with me, but Horus is my Primarch, and I kind of gotta follow him, and he knows what's right. But then as the heresy went on later and later, they kind of broke ways with him at different points. So it was never like a very clean like. And now, Istvan happened, and all the legions are either good or bad. That's kind of what I like about the Horus Heresy series is it shows that it wasn't clean. It was all messy.
Well, I mean, we're going to see something if the rumors are correct, we will see something in the next month or so from GW about a Horus Heresy 30K.
Yeah, and they're talking about like a war on Calth. So that would definitely put us with Ultramarines, and then probably Word Bearers and World Eaters, most likely.
Oh.
So that was pretty much the battle there.
So yeah, I retooled my list, made up a new captain.
Double lightning claws, huh?
Yeah. So we got a new captain going, and then let's see.
Is that a Grey Knight captain or a Blood Angel captain?
He's a Space Marine captain. So let's see. I finished up the league for Wrath of Kings. That's all done. There's only 2 people left at the end of the fight, so it was just me and another guy, and we had our last fight. So I'm done with Wrath of Kings for a while.
Did you win?
I won the last game, so.
So you took first in the league?
I don't know. We didn't really total up points. It's kind of hard to.
Oh, so it's not straight up wins and losses then. You're using a point system.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got that all accomplished. I have been working on finishing up my terrain project here for Dormicom. So I've did some highlights on here, got the tie wings all done. I'm just going to stencil out something on the blue parts here, probably his name and the articles he writes. But these are pretty much done.
Cool.
Picked up more Infinity.
Uh-oh. What else did you pick up?
I got the infamous classified deck.
Oh, yep.
So I finally have one of these.
I kept telling myself I wasn't going to get one, and then when I got one and I used it, I was like, oh, this is so much easier.
So I got one of these. Picked up the Nephitunes and the Anasakis.
Nice. Those are both really nice boxes.
Yeah, went down to not really local, or local as an in-state store, and they pretty much had the biggest collection of product.
Oh, was that Shiv Games?
Yes. So I was able to pick up those, and then just project after project after project. I made up a little wooden crate here. I'm going to be casting this and then making many duplicates and then turning them into scattered terrain.
Very cool. Just a simple little crate there.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to work well. It gives cover.
Perfect.
And let's see, what else?
Needs more hexagons.
Yeah, this is more utilitarian than futuristic. And then tonight I'll be working on my Hawk Islam skin tones. Really trying to work on a tan skin. And then I've got this big, huge base here, and that's actually I'm prepping for my Night Titan assembly.
Did you see the Forge World just came out with a new Night Titan?
Yeah, I hate that they did that because you can actually kill one in shooting now.
Yeah, and it's like the anti-super heavy, super heavy.
Yeah, just after I bought one, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna give you one that can actually do something at range." And I'm like, the one I have is we can kill something in close combat.
And if you get the new one, I think for a few more days, you can get a special pilot figure.
Yeah.
You should get a second one.
Yeah, I'm not too happy about saying all that. But currently, right now, let's see if you guys can see it. I've got my resin parts soaking in a bucket.
Yep. You know, I actually, like, when I was doing Forge World stuff, I let it soak for a few weeks.
Yeah, well, maybe not for a few weeks.
Yeah, but like after a few weeks, like I had almost zero scrubbing because there was a very thin film of release agent that had come off of it by then. So
yeah, that's it for me for this week. I know it's been Tau season, so what have you bought anything or what's new with Tau?
I have, so silly me. I the second they GW announced it, I reserved my copy of the codex and the data cards. But then it turns out that they just decided to put it all out online for free anyways.
What do you mean?
They evidently, if you ordered it online through, like their digital codex, and you downloaded it from a PC, but then opened it using iTunes, you could actually unlock the file early. So pictures and rules have started flying fast and furious across the internet. So what Tau are all about, we can actually really talk about tonight.
All right. Well, let's dive into your new Tau codex.
Well, you say new as if there's like new stuff in the codex. Yeah. And the truth is, this is more of just like an update to the codex, because you can take your old codex and you can still use it. Essentially, the way it works is you can take your old codex and you can buy the Koyan campaign booklet, and that will have all the rules for everything new in the codex.
So does that mean the codex that they're selling now is it a reprint, or is it a whole new, or is it just updated?
The one that they are showing now will be all new, updated. So it will take all the new stuff that they have in the Koyan campaign book and integrate it into the original Tau codex. That way you don't have to have two different books. So you have two options. So
this is the first time we've seen GW do something like this.
Yeah, and people are incredibly ticked off. I can't figure out why. Because think about it. Everybody's always complaining, oh, every time they come out with a new codex, I have to go and buy a whole new book.
Yeah.
So then GW goes, oh, okay, well then how about you don't have to buy a whole new book and you just buy this other book with the new rules in it. And then people lose it all over again. Like, you cannot make the internet happy here.
Oh, no. And then they just recently did their send us an email about for 12 days of Christmas videos that we'll do. I bet that email account is filled with nothing but hate mail.
Yeah. Pete, I'm sorry, Internet. We don't know how to make you happy. Nobody knows how to make you happy.
So break it down. Give us an inside look of your new codex.
So let's talk about the new units, first of all. So everything that's in the codex currently is pretty much the same, with a few small exceptions. Those exceptions is that now you can take squads of riptides, up to 3. You can also take squads of vehicles, up to 3, if you like. Monstrous creatures and vehicles have the fire team rule.
What is the fire team rule?
The fire team rule states that if you have a squad of 3 models, that squad can increase their ballistic skill by +1. So if you were to take 3 riptides, they would, in the same squad, they would now become ballistic skill 4 instead of 3.
So you can't join fire teams with other fire teams?
No. All the shenanigans and potentially really cool things we were imagining didn't really pan out.
So that
Still,
means
ballistic skill is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. But that means your guy with the shields or the stealth drones doesn't really help anybody else other than himself.
Well, we'll get to that.
Uh-oh. I hear some hate.
No, that's no hate. That's like, maybe you're going to hate it, but I'm going to like it. Okay, so the one other big change is that crisis suit squads can now be up to 8, whereas before they were only 3. Which really changes the way you use them. It used to be that they were pretty small squads. You would kind of dedicate them to one task. But now if you're going to drop in 8 crisis suits, and they can all take up to 3 signature systems, a lot of times what you would see was what they called a buff commander, where it was a commander who could take the signature systems that gave you ignore cover or rerolling misses, that sort of thing. Well, you don't need that commander anymore. You can just do that with a regular crisis suit. And with taking up to 8 suits in a squad, or 8 more, so you can take 9, you really don't need Farsight anymore either. So they've really streamlined it. And also, if you want to run a suit-heavy list, because a lot of people used to be able to take crisis suits as troops. You can run over 24 suits now. So I don't think anybody's really complaining about that. That's pretty amazing. So, and then let's talk about what the new units do. So, breachers haven't really changed much from what we've seen. They still have that wicked AP3 gun if you're within 5 inches. Stealth suits are still the same. The big ghost kills are still amazing for the points. However, the storm surge has changed a little bit.
What do you mean?
Well, we all kind of laughed when
a whole new unit has changed from the codex.
Well, what we saw in White Dwarf was only the beginning of the rules. What you have now in the codex tells you that if you're... So let me step back. The Storm Surge has 4 one-use missiles called Destroyer missiles. And before they were just Strength 8 AP3 missiles, or AP2. And everybody kind of shrugged their shoulders out of them. However, the codex tells you that if you expend a marker light to shoot one of these at a target, that Strength 8 missile now becomes a Strength D missile. So now you have, and they've got a stupid amount of range, like over 36 inches. So now you have, in addition to your big gun, because he's a gargantuan creature and he can fire all of his weapons at the same time. So he can fire all 4 of those shots if he chooses. He can fire up to 4 D strength shots at long range. So we're finally starting to understand why GW kept saying this thing was a night killer. So those are the new units. Oh yeah, we also have something called a Cold Star suit, but he kind of sucks, and I don't really want to talk about him. So what's really making Tau interesting now is formations. Because, oh boy, you thought you saw formations before? The Tau have a ton of them.
Yeah, this is the first book that got formations in, right?
Yes. So the Tau are actually the first ones to actually ever have formations in their Firebase cadre. And it was fairly good. If you took 2 full units of broadsides plus a Riptide, you were able to get like Tank Hunters and Hatred Marines, which means you got to reroll your ones. Or excuse me, Preferred Enemy Marines. And that is still there, except now you don't need full units, and they can be Crisis Suits or broadsides. But you get Tank Hunter and Monstrous Creature Hunter. Preferred Enemy Space Marines is gone. So, first and foremost, let's talk about like kind of you can always take your Combined Arms Detachment. That's always a viable option. However, the Tau have what they call a Hunter Contingent, which is kind of like a small squad. You know, several troop squads and one commander. And what that allows you to do is that allows you, first of all, you can all fire at the same. Excuse me, no, that comes later. There's a lot of rules jumping around right now. So what it allows you to do is you can run and then shoot at your full ballistic skill.
Really?
Yep.
No downside at all?
Well, you are locked into taking a certain amount of, troops. Like 0 to 1 elite, 0 to 1 fast attack, 0 to 1 heavy support, 1 to 3 troops, and some sort of commander unit. Oh, and you get to reroll your warlord trait, but who cares about that? So that's a contingent. Now they also have what's called a cadre, which is essentially 3 contingents smashed together. So you have to take 3 to 6 troops, 0 to 1 again, like elites, fast attack, heavy support, plus a commander. Or I'm sorry, all those elites are 1 to 3. So it looks pretty similar to what most people were taking already. But now I'm not sure if you get to use the contingent rules plus the cadre rules, but the cadre rules say that you can actually combine fire, which means that you can take multiple units that are firing at the same target and shoot them all at the same time. Now, the advantage of that is let's say that I have marker lights on a target that I'm using. Now, instead of having to use several marker lights for the first squad, several marker lights for the second squad, several marker lights for the third squad, I can fire all 3 squads together, and they each get to share those marker light hits. So I could spend 2 marker light tokens to increase the ballistic skill of all 3 units simultaneously.
So I'm really going to have to start killing marker lights quicker.
Yes. Well, here's where it also gets nasty. People start sharing their rules as well. So suppose you had, again, we talked about like that buff Mander, or just a crisis suit now, who's a cover and who's rerolling shots. So let's say that that's one of those units that's firing. Now the other 2 units get to ignore cover and reroll their misses as well. So it's a little complex in what it is, but essentially what it runs down to is, think of it this way, is if it's a special rule that applies to a specific gun, you don't share that amongst the other squads. However, it's a specific rule that applies to a unit, then that gets spread to all the other units as well. Now, before everybody starts screaming, "Oh my gosh, this is so horrible," let's also remember that that means that you're only shooting at a single unit. So what this is a really great way that Tau have now for deleting units off the table. You won't be able to, you won't kill the whole army off in a single round of shooting, but you can pick one unit and say, I don't like these guys, or these guys really have to go, and you can remove them. Hopefully. I mean, you are still rolling dice, so. Sometimes you don't kill a single one. Other times you kill 10 purifiers in a single go.
Now, do you have anything against alpha strikes, or are you still prone to those?
So you do have a few ways to sort of avoid that. You can take that similar the armored interdiction squad or whatever it is, where it's the crisis suit plus 2 squads of broadsides. And what that allows you to do, it's a retribution cadre. And it allows you to actually hold them all back, but deep strike them simultaneously on turn 2. You don't need to roll for it. So it's not quite the same as like a drop pod, but it does allow you to deep strike in mass right off the bat. So I wouldn't call it an alpha strike, but more of like a beta strike.
So what if you're getting alpha striked?
You're still just going to have to suck it up unless we have a cadre and one of your guys has interceptor. Because now remember, interceptor for Tau is a piece of war gear that applies to a unit. It's not a specific weapon rule. So, depending on your interpretation of this rule, that means that, say my Riptide has interceptor, that means that conceivably other units that decide to shoot have interceptor as well. So that might be a little helpful against drop pods.
Hopefully we can see FAQ on that.
Like I said, right now, the rule is slightly ambiguous, and there's a lot of hashing out that needs to be done on it. But knowing GW, I'm fairly certain that there will be no FAQ. And they'll just say, well, just follow the rules or just discuss it with your friend.
Let tournament organizers worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let the ITC figure that out. So, but let's talk about a couple of interesting ones that involve some of the new units that actually have some really good rules. So we have one which is basically buy all of our new stuff, which means you have to take a full squad of the Ghost Kills and a full squad, or excuse me, at least 2 of the Storm Surges. But the way this formation works is if something is within 12 inches of the Ghost Kills and the Storm Surges shoot at them, or if anything shoots at them, they get to re-roll all of their misses, which really helps with Tau shooting. And then also, if that unit takes a hit from anyone in that formation, in their next turn, they can only move. They can't run, and their charging distances are halved. So the thing that Tau have always had big trouble with was Death Stars. And a lot of people say that the current iteration of Death Stars we have was in response to Tau shooting. And what Death Stars basically do are extremely durable and then get up into close combat and kill you. So this will slow down those Death Star units quite a bit. In theory. We'll have to see how it actually works. So that's a really fun one. But again, you have to get ready to drop a few $100s on models there.
Well, it's getting to the pay to win part of GW.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's been like that for a long time. You know, GW says these are our newest, coolest models. Here's some awesome rules. You know, go out and buy it and use it and win. But personally, the one that I think is the most powerful is what's called the Optimized Stealth Cadre. And this is also the one I'm looking at using because it involves using stealth suits, which I love. I'm not sure stealth suits are all that good, but I'm also too stubborn just to not use them because I like them.
You have the investment.
Yeah. So the way within 6 inches of the ghost keel, everybody in that formation gets +1 ballistic skill. And let's remember, the ghost keel, if you take 3 of them, you also get +1 ballistic skill. So if you have 3 ghost keels in this formation near stealth suits, they are now ballistic skill 5. The stealth suits also become ballistic skill 4. Then everyone ignores cover, which is always fun. And here's where it gets fun. Any vehicles you shoot at, you automatically treat it as if you're shooting rear armor.
Wow.
Yeah. And when you're talking, most of the weapons that these guys are going to be packing is going to be strength 6, 7, and 8. You are going to wreck a lot of vehicles with these.
Broken.
Oh, that's what you say, but there's still only armor save 3. And it's expensive. I totaled up the points. A minimum you're going to pay for this squad is about 300 points. And that's not going to be very effective. Whereas a fully tricked out squad, you're going to be paying over 800. So yeah, so that's kind of what the Tau have going on. So you can see, I'm a little disappointed. I had hoped that let me tell you why. I was hoping that they were going to do more work on the actual codex instead of just throw a bunch of formations at us.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of weird that they're. I mean, I see one point. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool that they. You don't have to buy a new codex, but then they're like, well, if they're not doing anything to the codex, they've kind of shortchanged you on getting something new and shiny.
You know, you can look at it 2 ways. And the first is your old army will still work. You know, the army that you were playing in the old edition will work just as well, if not better, if you can combo it up with formations. It'll work just the same as it did before, if not slightly better. So that really means that you don't need, you know, your army now is not broken. You know, they didn't break anything, they didn't change the way that anything worked. So there's no reason for you not to keep doing things the way that you were doing. Which, if you looked at the new suits and just, you know what, that's not for me, or, you know, maybe I only wanted one of these because I kind of like the model, it's okay. You don't have to say, well, my army was really great in this previous edition, but then GW went and screwed me. So no, there was no nerf bats broken out. But at the same time, I felt like the codex had a few weak spots that could have been addressed. You know, one, Pathfinders I feel are a little expensive for what they do, or for as easily as they die.
You mean the one unit everybody targets because they have marker lights.
Mm-hmm. I still feel like the Tau are really weak on troops, while we have kind of an abundance of things in other areas. For instance, we've got, as troops, I guess we now have strike squads and breacher squads. And we still have Kroot. But Kroot are essentially useless at this point.
Do you still have Vespids?
We do still have Vespids. So, and while you can debate on whether or not Vespids are good, some people say that they're horrible, some people say that they're amazing. The problem is that Vespids sit in the fast attack slot.
Yeah.
And what you have along with Vespids in the fast attack slot, you have your Pathfinders, which are your best or cheapest source of marker lights. You have Piranhas, which are really great. You have drone squadrons, which again are really great. You also have your sniper squads, which are really great. So you have 4 really great options, and then Vespid, which are questionable. And so your fast attack slot is really full. Well, then on top of that, you also have your 2 fighter options. Your Sun Shark and your Razor Shark. So,
oh yeah, I wonder. I'm surprised they didn't do any updates on those things.
Yeah, they didn't get much. Oh, and we also have the Devilfish, which is your transport. Devilfish. Yeah, Devilfish are, again, some people like them, some people hate them.
Hey, so, Fish of Fury, man, that was a viable tactic.
I concur, and I think even now, I think it works even better because remember, if you take the right mix, you can, move them up, disembark, then run, and then shoot. So while we were all thinking, that 5-inch range gun is going to be pretty hard to swing, it looks like you'll be able to actually make those work now. It looks like Tau have gotten a lot more mobile than they used to be. So yeah, poor Vespids. They're competing for a lot. Or if you look at your elite slot, we have crisis suits, we have stealth suits, we have riptides, and we have the ghost kill. All are really great options. So I think what might have helped the codex a little bit, and now granted, you can always say, well, take formations and you can get around that, which is probably what I think most people will do. I would have liked to have seen maybe Pathfinders brought into the troop slot and maybe stealth suits brought into troops, or not stealth suits, crisis suits. I would have liked to have seen those being brought into the troop slots. And I feel like that would have really fixed a lot of problems. My other complaint, which they actually did fix, was the lack of heavy weapons in their teams, like in basic fire warrior teams. But we now have a deployable turret that we can put down, which you can put a missile pod on. So that did solve that. So I think you've got some ups, you've got some downs in this codex, but overall I think that it's been improved. And I think that the people who are complaining are just the people who are always going to complain no matter what.
Well, yeah. There's always going to be somebody who's unhappy.
True. With the new formations, though, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more Tau on people's tables. Just as they say, because it's easier than ever to bring in things like riptides. And for their points, riptides are really amazing. So it'll be interesting to see how this glut of formations actually impacts everybody, especially the tournament scenes.
Well, how's it going to change your list? You've been prepping for LVO. You were planning to buy 100 piranhas. So What's new in your thinking on listcraft?
So originally what I was thinking with my list was to take a full 5-ship squad of piranhas. It takes a pair of riptides, maybe a squad of stealth suits, maybe 2 squads of stealth suits. I wasn't quite sure about that. And then 2 squads of fire warriors. And on top of that, I would take a Farsight bomb. So now what I'm looking at, and this is some quick numbers here, so this isn't final. We talked about the optimized stealth squad, or cadre, or whatever it is. I'd like to take one of those, because I have enough stealth suits. I can run 2 max stealth suit squads. I don't know if I want to take a full squad of ghost kills, because as I said before, that's over 800 points. But let's say I take 3 of them. So that's 800 points there. Then what I might do is I might strip out the Farsight bomb and just replace that with go with like a regular cadre, because I can take several squads of basic strike squads. I like to get my hands on some of those turrets, just because it'd be kind of nice to throw in some strength 7 into those squads. Take several small squads of mounted troops in Devilfish. Replace the Farsight bomb with just a regular squad of elites, and maybe throw my commander in there. And the nice thing is that it'll do all the same things that a Farsight bomb did, but I won't be paying the tax for Farsight. The suits will also be cheaper as well. Because whereas before I had to take bodyguards, which were 32 points base, a regular crisis suit is 22 points base. So I'm saving somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 70 points with that. I won't be able to fit a full squad of piranha in. However, I should be able to still...
You're breaking down to the piranha group?
You know, I run 3 piranha right now, and I generally like them. I'm thinking maybe I go back and forth on going up to 5 or not. So that's what would change, is moving from 5 back down to 3. But I would still have room for a couple of riptides in this list. So I think at a minimum, what I need to pick up is a second riptide. Just because, you know, you can always use more riptides. So a minimum of 1 riptide and 1 ghost kill. I still need to hammer on the numbers a little bit, but it's generally the way I'm leaning right now. Is just taking that cadre detachment plus the optimized stealth cadre, because it's already what I was doing. It's just going to let me do what I was doing before better now. The idea again being that my stealth suits infiltrate up. Whatever's in the Devilfish goes racing up to try and support them. I get on objectives. But now I'm ignoring cover. Potentially my guys have AP3 guns versus Strength 5 AP5 guns. And I'm dropping in a cheaper, albeit just as shooty Farsight bomb, with maybe a commander who's actually a little more durable than Farsight. Because that was the problem with Farsight in the past. You paid 140 points for essentially a crisis suit with a 4+ invulnerable save and 1 plasma gun. So he was really expensive. Now, he did do one thing, which I have to think about a little bit, is he doesn't scatter when he deep strikes. Which, when you're dropping in a whole bunch of crisis suits, you've seen the size of that footprint of that unit when it comes in. And being able to come in right where you want to be able in double tap range with all those plasma guns, sure is nice. So, but generally that's what I'm thinking. I might move away from a Farsight bomb to just a regular large squad of crisis suits. And then maybe taking a really tough commander to go with them. So I think the big question now is, do I want one ghost keel or do I want 3?
What does your wallet say to that?
I have to ask her. I might have to be donating some plasma here.
At least it's only strength 6.
I got what you did there, because Tau plasma is strength 6 versus 7. Yeah, well, my plasma doesn't get hot, loser. So, however, whatever I do, I feel like I'm in a good spot, because it's not quite the end of October. I've got my painting slate clean. So whatever happens, I think I'm going to have to paint 2 Riptides and maybe 1 Ghost Keel. And that gives me November, December, and January. That gives me 3 months to paint those up, and I think that that'll be plenty of time. So
with your airbrush, it'll go by quickly.
Yeah, and I actually want to try and give the Games Workshops airbrush paints a try.
Oh yeah.
So that way I can just prime them black and then just go ahead and spray on my Adeptus Battle Gray. So, and then just clean that up a little bit with blacks or whatever other colors I need, and then highlight. Hopefully it'll save me a lot of time. So I think I'm in good shape for LVO. You know, granted, I'm only playing like 3 games in LVO, and it's like the friendly team competition, but maybe I shouldn't be as concerned about it as I am. But with all you other power gamers, you know, on my team, I can't look bad. So
you're going to be that guy anyways. You're going to get the new Tau.
Yeah, boy, I have to be that again. You know, I've been playing Tau for quite a while. You know, I don't want to say I've been playing Tau since, you know, before they were cool, but I was playing Tau before they were cool. And the only thing I have to prove it is like my old school janky crisis suits and my old school janky Farsight model. Hopefully that'll be enough to convince people. No, but they'll hate me no matter what.
Yeah.
So maybe I should just embrace the suck and just get a couple of storm surges as long, you know, just try and blow people off the table. Pay to win, right?
Yep.
Although speaking of expenditures, it's getting expensive. Have you seen there's some Kickstarters up that I'm having a hard time saying no to?
Which ones? There's Super Dungeon Explorer. There's so many coming out right now.
So there's Super Dungeon Explorer, which I kept telling myself, oh, all I need is just the 2nd edition box. But then they started flying through all their unlocks, you know, all their stretch goals. I'm like, I want all the models so bad.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one and I'm like, I don't necessarily want the 2nd edition box because I already got all those miniatures. I do like the tiles and all the campaign stuff. So there's a lot of stuff in that Kickstarter that really appeals.
Well, I think there is an option where you don't actually get the 2nd edition box. You just get all of their other stuff.
Yeah.
So is that where you're going to jump in?
We'll see. Funds are going to be different with how life is going to turn out the next couple months.
Then there's a company called Happy Seppuku. They make a green stuff stamp, which are really, really nice. And they've got a Kickstarter going on right now as well to expand their line. And at first I was like, oh, I don't need like this whole big thing of 9 stamps. I just need that one and that one and that one and that one. And, oh, son of a...
The first hit's free. That's how they get you.
I know. Like those green stuff stamps. I've seen a few lately that have really started to change my mind about them. Well, so did you finish these guys up?
Yeah, I got all the flesh tones done. Let's see. Shaky cam for a second. And yeah, we're not going to be able to. Oh, flesh tones are done.
Maybe take some pictures of them for us, and we'll take a look at it.
I'll have to post them on the Facebook page.
So, but I'd like to talk about Super Dungeon Explorers a little bit more. Maybe next week. We've got a friend. She's been painting up quite a bit of SDE stuff. Maybe we'll try and bring her on.
Yeah. We shall pursue that endeavor.
So, all right. Well, you're all done painting. My voice is running out after talking about Tau.
All right. I think that's it for the show then, right?
Sounds good to me.
All right, folks. We'd really love to hear from you in the comments. Let us know what you guys think about the new Tau codex. Are you going to be hopping on like Casey here? Get the codex creep going? Are you going to be buying a whole bunch of Tau? Let us know what your interest is. That's it for the show. Please like this video, comment down below, subscribe to see more. We will be back next week. Casey, anything else?
Nothing except for the usual. If there's something you find interesting and would like us to talk about, or if there's an interesting product you'd like us to take a look at, just shoot us an email at theatomicsalt@gmail.com. This is The Atomic Salt, and we've just blown your mind.
See you next week, folks.